The purpose of today's program is we're going to try to keep this as informal as possible. I'm by no means an expert in anything that we're going to be talking about today. I'm not a lecturer either. So I'm just going to try to keep this as informal as possible. Discussions, questions, give our own experiences. If you have some kind of experience that you would like to share, that would be definitely welcomed at the end of the program, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So, the topic of today is striking a balance between faith and career. I've spoken on this subject before, just from a personal experience. Alhamdulillah, we have the opportunity in this country to pursue higher education and pursue careers that allow us to be successful and integrate into this great community and give back to the community that provided for us. A little background for me, I grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. I lived in Queens, New York for 5 years, and I moved here for my undergrad at Dearborn back in 1999. That's when I moved here. And then I worked for about 4 years, and then eventually, alhamdulillah, I got accepted into medical school, and then went to medical school for 4 years, and then residency for 4 years, and now I've been done for a couple of years, alhamdulillah. You can see that from the history of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet emphasized education, that اطلب العلم, even if it, seek knowledge, even if you have to go to China, or اطلب العلم من المهد إلى اللحد, from the day you were born until you're about to die, you're always seeking education. And you think about it, you're like, China, that's not, it's a flight away. But at that time, when the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's a long travel to go to China. So the emphasis on seeking education is very important in Islam. And there are a couple of instances I remember, especially when I was in medical school doing anatomy, when you talk about striking a balance between faith and career. I was in the anatomy lab, and you have the bodies open there, and you look at the anatomy and you say, Subhanallah, the creator, what has he created? And you think, how can somebody be an atheist? You don't even need to know anything about religion. You open up this body, you look at, there's a nerve, and I always use this example, so for those who have heard it, please excuse me. There's a nerve called the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It's a nerve that goes down and then curves back up to insert into your vocal cord so that you can speak. Now you'd say, why would the nerve pass where it needs to go and then come back up and reattach? But that occurs in 99% of the people. There's always variations in some, but that occurs in the majority of people. So why is that? You'll find that as a Muslim growing up in this community, you try to incorporate your faith in everything that you do. And so when you encounter things like this, you use that to make your faith stronger. Another aspect that I have spoken about before that I think is very important is in this day and age, in this community, especially right now we're very grateful to WISE for allowing us to use this facility, but we need a place of our own. And we think about this, we're like, okay, I want to go to Hajj, I want to go to Ziyarah, I want to contribute to orphans, I want to contribute to a mosque, I want to take care of my parents. We have projects that we need to take care of. I work in the medical field and I see nursing homes are not ideal conditions for our parents. I would think our religion, our faith would not allow us to put our parents in such a situation. But if we had an Islamic nursing home where people actually feared God, and took care of the elderly in our community, imagine the impact that would have for us. And, as our dear Sayyid always emphasizes, is let's not invest in those who are dead. A lot of people worry about funeral homes and stuff like that. Let's not invest in those. Let's invest in the people who are alive, in our youth, because that's what's going to be our future in this community and in this world. So I highly, highly recommend that we all aspire to go to excel in our education so that we can go into prestigious careers. And we need people in all different careers, in every kind of aspect. If we can, the reason certain factions are so successful in their communities is because they have infiltrated every single aspect that exists in this country. They control economics, they control medicine, they control law, they control many, many, many other things. We have the potential. SubhanAllah and Smallah, our community is very rich. They have a lot, and I'm not saying rich just monetarily, rich in their faith, in their background, in their money, and that's what our community needs. We cannot accomplish all these projects if our community does not have money. Our parents and our grandparents came to this country because they wanted a better future for all of us. And it starts from all you young guys that are sitting here. Hopefully you guys are listening and paying attention, that you are the future of us. You are going to be taking care of us when we're older. When I'm walking on a cane, I'm going to be looking up and you're going to be taking care of me, right? Yeah? Okay. So I urge all of you, and I always offer this to anybody, if anybody wants to go into medicine, and alhamdulillah we have people in all sorts of, we have our dear brother Haj Muhib here who's in law. If anybody who has any kind of questions regarding a certain career path that you want to take or you want to take on, please feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to help, more than happy to lead you in the right direction. We have many, many resources, and inshallah, once we're able to find an official building, we'll have offices that are available for careers, career building, and as a side note, inshallah, when NYC has its own building or own office, definitely helping and volunteering and being involved in organizations can definitely help boost your resume, and people are always looking for logged hours and stuff like that. So take advantage. I believe that helped me get into medical school. I got a letter from what was the YMA in the past of all the hours that we volunteered to help, and that helps boost up your resume. It definitely does. So please, if you are somebody who wants to help, be involved. Please approach any one of the brothers and sisters, let them know, ask them, hey, I want to get involved, this is what I'm good at, this is what I know how to do. We used to have a magazine, we don't have that anymore. People who love to write, people who want to share certain experiences, stuff like that. Please, try to be involved, try to tell your friends to be involved. We'd love to see this hallway filled with beautiful faces, and inshallah we'll open up the discussion after our dear sisters here are done with their piece. Please feel free to ask any questions. Inshallah, hopefully we can lead you in the right direction. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Before I begin speaking, I just want to let you know that Sister Heba will be passing around note cards and pens. If anybody has any questions or there's anything that you want to share, feel free. Or if you're comfortable raising your hand, go right ahead. This is, as we said, a very informal setting, and we want everybody to be comfortable. So if you're comfortable just standing up and speaking, go ahead. Sallallahu Muhammad wa Muhammad. There'll also be a little raffle. We have little treats and stuff. So if you ask questions and you write your name on the back, we'll pay you for one of the little treats we have. Alrighty. So, assalamu alaikum again. My name is Jana Macklin, and I'm a senior at Wayne State University, and I am an honors accounting major in the business school. One of the biggest things I often hear is, "You're in business? What are you doing business for? What are you planning to do with that? You're gonna own a business?" No, that's not what I'm doing. Since I've been a freshman, I've been trying to get in with a Big Four accounting firm, which is, generally speaking, corporate America. So when I explain to people that that's the route I'm taking, I also get a lot of pushback there. That why are you subjecting yourself to that? You know our perception in the media right now. You know what people think of us. Why is a young Muslim girl going to put herself in that position? Well, it's exactly because of the appearance we have in the media right now that I do want to put myself in that position. Mashallah, we have, and I've seen in this community alone, a wide range of talents. And I think they're not being pursued, and I think we need to be putting ourselves out there. Now, sisters have it harder and easier at the same time with spreading the message of Islam. The hijab in and of itself is proof of our identity as Muslims. Not to say that you brothers, I'm sure, don't undergo your own struggles, but wherever I go, everybody instinctively knows I'm Muslim. That's not something I can hide, and it's not something I want to hide. So instead, I've decided to use it as an opportunity to put myself in situations and put myself in positions where I'm comfortable speaking, I'm comfortable in my faith, and I'm comfortable talking about my religion. So oftentimes when I'm asked, what's with that hat around your head? Why can't I hug you? Why can't I shake your hand? It's situations like that where you get to demonstrate the importance of your religion. And you have to be conscious as well. When I'm out there and I'm wearing my hijab, I'm a representation of my religion. Everywhere I go, everything I say traces directly back to Islam. If I don't want something being perpetuated, I have to be conscious not to put that out there myself. So that's something that's always in the back of my mind, is what do I want people to think about Islam? What do I want people to think about Muslims? And that's something to carry on. So in business school, it's definitely been a little bit of a struggle. I went to Dearborn High, where a good portion of the students were Muslim or Arab, and it wasn't extremely diverse. And I'm in a class now where not only am I the only Hajj, I'm the only Arab in the entire class. So that's something new, and that's something to get used to as well. But it definitely provides an opportunity. And I urge you guys to not shy away from situations like that. Try to take a step outside your comfort zone. It's easy to stay with what you're comfortable with. It's easy to stay with what you're good with. But you should pursue different things and put yourself in situations where you can branch out, you can make a name for yourself, and you can make a name for Islam. And to all the youth in the audience right now, I know you guys are thinking, what does this have to do with me? I'm not in high school yet, let alone college. Every generation is getting smarter. You guys are going to be far, far smarter than I am by the time you're my age. You're learning at an accelerated rate. So this is going to be your future. This is going to be your opportunity to spread Islam, and you're going to get to control it. So I know you think it's a little early, but it's okay to start thinking about that from now. What am I going to do? How am I going to represent my religion? What can I do? Thank you, guys.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Claudia Newlett. Alhamdulillah, I'm a recent graduate of Eastern Michigan University. I graduated with an art major and a minor in biology. Inshallah, I'm applying to PA school this summer, and keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully I hear good news by the end of the summer. Very similar to exactly what Jonah Manford was talking about. Wearing a hijab, I'm always going to be a representative no matter where I am or what situation I'm in. So I have to be conscious of that no matter what's going on. As a student, being an art major, I was one of the few out of art majors and one of the few wearing hijab. And I took advantage of that. Whenever there was projects that I got to pick and choose what I was going to do, I chose to do projects about Islam. I chose to do something that was meaningful to me, because I feel like through art I was able to show Islam in a different way. And then because of how the program works, when we would have critiques with the class was forced to discuss my project, forced to talk about Islam in a different way, to where they normally wouldn't have to. So I completely took advantage of it, and I loved it. And it was really great to be able to do that. I brought one of my pieces with me, actually. The project was that we had to do something about time. And it was something that we were supposed to do the whole semester long, something every day to show the progression of time from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester. And the teacher said, do something you do every day and find a way to do that, like incorporate that in your project. And I'm like, what do I do every day? I pray. I pray 5 times a day. So I got a board and I made like a charcoal paper and then a blank piece of paper to where it was like a transfer type of paper. I connected it all to my board and I prayed on it every single day for the whole semester. And that's what it looked like at the end of the semester. And come to that, it got put in the student show at Eastern Michigan University, and I was like so proud of it. And even when I brought it into my class with my intention of it showing the humbleness of Islam, the peacefulness of Islam, what it actually means to pray every day, and that was my intention with it. I brought it into class, and my teacher immediately went crazy over it, and he said, oh my gosh, he's like, I could just see the humbleness in this. I could just see the actual dedication that you're praying every day. And he was going on and on and on. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to do anything. My teacher went ahead with it, and he was so into it, so happy about it, and he was the one that actually put it in the student show. So then when it came time for the show, and I was so excited, like all my family and everyone went, and walking into it, I overheard a conversation about my piece, and one of the girls was like showing around someone that, like through the gallery, and she was telling her like, this is one of the most beautiful pieces like in here, and explaining to her how Muslims pray 5 times a day, and this is what I was doing, and this is what I was trying to show. To where other people had to represent Islam like through my piece. Like it was the most amazing moment like ever, and I'll like never forget it. Not even just like boast about myself, but just like that a project like that can like change other people's perceptions of Islam is just like such a humbling experience. It was like so great for me. But even through other pieces, like students were forced to talk about it, forced to talk about like, this isn't how women in hijab are, this isn't how Muslim women are. To be representative, it's a big challenge and it's a big responsibility, but I always was like so proud to have that and to take that on. And then even with my work, I've been a phlebotomist for 5 years, which is like drawing blood. I work at Oakwood Hospital right now. And even with my patient interactions, I have to be aware of like how I'm being perceived, how I'm talking to these patients. Even if it's a rude patient, even if it's a horrible situation, I always have to be the bigger person. I always have to be extra polite or extra nice because my actions are a straight reflection of Islam, no matter what I do. And then even before when I worked at the hospital, I did traveling phlebotomy for like a year, and I was driving everywhere. I would go like from Flint to Walls Lake to Rivergate to Southgate, like all these different cities to where they don't have many interactions with Muslims or anything like any other minority for that, like at all. So I was nervous about that. I'm gonna have to go to all these different cities and work with these patients in nursing homes, and what if they take me the wrong way or I didn't know what was gonna happen. And it was funny, most of the time they thought I was a nun going around to draw blood. But even with that, I was always really polite with them. I was always nice. I always did the best that I could be because I knew that my actions with those patients, that interaction was going to probably be one of the few interactions they would have with a Muslim. So I made sure to do it to my best ability and to make sure that I was always being the best I could be, like not only for my job, but because I'm here to serve Allah. That's the main goal of our careers, of our schooling, of anything, to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for the right reason. And it totally translates to the patients and the people you're interacting with. That's the perception they're going to have of Islam wherever you are. So I think girls do have it sometimes easier to where we don't have to always say things, they know it by our actions. But even with the boys, like you have the opportunity to do that too. And I think no matter what career or what field you are in school, whatever it is, like you just always have to do it, like think to yourself, you're doing this to serve Allah, and try to be that good representative no matter what situation you're going to be in. Even if they don't know you're Muslim, even if you're a girl not wearing hijab, you just always have to like have that standard for yourself. Thank you.
Let's go get some questions. Does anybody else have any questions on anything? Thank you. Okay, so the first question is,
where you're pressured by non-Muslim students to do things against your religion. Are you pressured by non-Muslim students to go against your religion?
I can speak to that.
So one of the things with me trying to get into the companies I'm going into is a lot of times they have, after whatever meeting or session is going on, people go out to eat, or they sometimes want to go to the bar. And I have to explain to them, no, that's not a situation I'm comfortable with. And most of the time they're like, oh, you don't drink? And it's like, no, it's a part of my religion. It's about providing a learning opportunity. There are going to be many instances for you all, as there have been for myself, where you're going to be pressured by those around you to do things that go against your deen. You have to be strong enough in your faith to say, I'm not going to conform to this. In everything you do, you have to be yourself. Is this something I would do on a regular basis? Is this something that I would want someone from my city seeing me doing? If the answer is no, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And sometimes it's harder to say no, but there is always a way. And there's always a way to turn it into a lesson too, and teach someone about your religion, why we don't drink, why it isn't, healthy for us. I prefer to not be in that state of mind. There are other ways I wish, to deal with situations. So there are often opportunities to avoid these situations, and it helps to have a friend, and it helps to establish yourself beforehand why you don't do some of these certain things. I hope that answered your question.
So it's funny, you'd think in medical school, students practicing medicine or trying to practice or learn medicine are a little bit more aware of these situations, but our exams were always on a Monday morning. So I lived in Lansing, and I'd drive back to Lansing Sunday night, and then take my test Monday morning. Guess where everybody went Monday night? So everybody would, and these are all medical students practicing medicine. They see what their actions, can do, and they go out every Monday night and they go to the bar and they get drunk and they do different things. Of course, they would always expect or ask everybody to show up, but they knew who not to ask. But you can use that. I had other Muslim friends, and we, did our own thing. We went out and had dinner at a restaurant. We went and don't make fun of me. Went to the arcades and played some games and stuff like that. So, I've always bring up that point. I don't have to drink to have a good time. And you ask people who are drunk if they remember how much fun they really had. So, I use that as a joke, but it brings out a point. So I would definitely say that, the temptations are there, but you have the opportunity to make something better out of that situation.
Thank you so much. Those are both amazing replies. This question is actually to you, Hashtag Good. And the question is, how did you manage to stay involved in the community, work, and family while in medical school?
That's a good question. Alhamdulillah, my parents made Islam a very important part of my life. When we moved to New York from Indiana, we moved to pretty much on the same block as the Islamic Center there. And we were at the mosque essentially every day. So when we moved to Dearborn, I always knew that there was the Muslim and Arab community here in Dearborn. I definitely wanted to be a part of that, and we met Imam Hassan Qazwini, so we stayed involved with that. I was part of the YMA when it first started, and it was just part of my life. And then, alhamdulillah, I was able to meet my wife through the youth program. And that was another point that I forgot to mention when I was speaking, it was definitely a blessing to be married during that part of my life, because it kept me away college atmosphere and a college campus, there are many temptations there and many distractions, but alhamdulillah, being married definitely helped that situation. And because it was already part of my life, when you grow up, there's certain things you don't do, and you're like, I don't want to do it because I don't want my dad to see me doing it. But essentially, it's a second level there. The real reason you're not doing it is because you don't want to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you displease your parents, you're displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, because that was such an integral part of my life, I make time. It's something that you have to do, make a conscious effort to be able to do it. It's not easy, but if it's part of your life and part of your priority, you can make it happen. You may not be able to make it to every Friday night program, but when you have the opportunity, go ahead and try it. Make a point to make it. And if you try to stay involved, definitely that will help you. Like I said, being involved, you can boost up your resume. At the same time, as long as you keep your faith, and faith is part of you, when you are out there and alone, those distractions don't really tempt you anymore, because you have your faith and your family and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your brothers and sisters in your community.
Thank you.
You said resume, so I just remembered. I wanted to say too, if anybody is currently working on a resume or needs any help with anything along those lines, that's something I can definitely help with, and feel free to approach me after the program. I can definitely help with that.
Thank you. Well, the third question is actually from me. And how do you guys deal with the bigot and the ignorance in your fields and in your majors? For example, with Hashtaga, have you had any maybe patients that didn't want to be healed by you, ma'am, any art students that didn't want to talk to you necessarily, or any accounting stuff, I don't know.
I remember one time I had a patient ask me, he thought I was wearing a scarf, I was there to draw his blood, and the first thing he told me was, so are you Shia or Sunni? And I'm like, oh my God. And I was just like, what? And I knew that he didn't know much about it, that he was just asking to make a point, and I was just like, oh my gosh, why would you even ask that? Thinking to myself, and then I just told him, it doesn't matter what you are, we're both the sisters and brothers of Islam, and we're both for the same religion, and that's all that really matters. And I kind of just shut down the question right then and there. And just situations like that where you kind of have to be the bigger person and talk your way out of it, or just to avoid it, because that's not an appropriate question to ask. I had a patient before too try to convert me to Christianity as I was drawing her blood. So that was very interesting. And I just had to explain to her, kindly, everyone has their own faith, everyone has what they believe in and what makes sense to them, and I'm very comfortable with my faith, so I'm okay. But she just really felt the need to tell me that I need to accept Jesus Christ into my life. And I said, I accept him as a prophet, and we're all good, we're all friends. So it was really hard, but sometimes you're just in those uncomfortable situations, and you just have to be knowledgeable and know your faith, know how to answer those questions, and know how to be the bigger person and answer them in the most respectful way that you can, so you're not offending the other person even when they are offending you.
I think probably the funniest thing that's happened to me, and this has actually happened, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 times. Every time I'm going in for an interview, and sometimes they'll have you out in the lobby, and then they'll come out and they'll be like, they'll say your name, so they'll go, Jenna Macklin, and I stand up. And then they have to do a second look at their paper. And then they'll look back at me, and they'll look back at the paper like, that name matched that person, type thing. And I always, I use it, I don't directly address it, but you can kind of use it as a talking point. I feel like that's kind of my foot in the door thing. Maybe I don't have the most Arab sounding name, but when they see that and they're like, oh, that person's Arab, that person's Muslim, you can use it as a talking point. And most of the time, people are genuinely curious. They want to know. And I have to say, alhamdulillah, Allah has really blessed me in the field I chose to pursue. He's really protected me, and I haven't had any major encounters that I couldn't handle myself. Most of the time, I can actually end up turning it into a learning experience. So when they ask questions, I can explain. They want to know. A lot of people really want to know. More often, you'll encounter people who genuinely want to learn than people who outright hate you. But I know the number that outright hate us are increasing. Just always grin and bear it. That's the best thing you can do. It's not worth it to fight back. It's not worth it to holler back and say things back to them. You have to remain composed at all times and smile. Smile is the easiest form of charity. It's the easiest thing you can do is to walk up to a person and to be pleasant and to remember you're representing your religion. Do whatever you want people to remember Muslims as.
It's funny, the first thing that comes to mind when this question was asked was, there was one time when I was taking care of a patient and I was called a racist. And in my mind, I look at my badge and I'm like, did I not see the name that's on this badge, Haidar al-Sadiq? I mean, I'm the one who's being racist, people are being racist against me, I'm not the racist. Like, are you seriously calling me a racist? But I agree with Jenna, it's way more powerful, I promise you. If you just continue with the same demeanor, smile. I actually told the patient, thank you. It probably bothers them more than the thought that they have about you anyway. Because the majority of us either grew up here or came here when we were at a young age. We're part of this society, we grew up in this society. As long as you are not walking into work with an angry face, always upset, unhappy, that's not going to develop a good image of yourself. But if you're walking in, smile on your face, greeting everybody, treating everybody with respect, being friends with your coworkers, just keeping in mind the limitations that you have to have, people will like you. They don't care, honestly. Once they see that we're normal human beings just like they are, they can see past all of that.
Thank you both, all three of you, for those answers. I have one more question on the flashcards, but everyone feel free to ask questions. I'll bring the microphone to you. The last question is, when choosing a major, what were the factors you considered? Was it money, family, family input, happiness, passion, etc.?
I guess I can talk first. So, originally when I wanted to go to college, I wanted to be a history and literature major. And that was shot down by my dad. He said, I had originally planned to go to law school. So my understanding was I can, get a degree in whatever, and it won't make a difference because I'm going to be taking the LSAT anyway. And he's like, no, if you're deciding you want to go that route, take a degree that can still be marketable afterwards. That way, in case you decide you don't want to do law, you have something to fall back on. So he suggested business, and I picked accounting just because I've always been very partial to math, and I took an accounting class in high school, and I enjoyed it. I ended up falling in love with it, and I ended up sort of dropping the whole law school thing. And inshallah, I'll be sitting for my certified public accounting exam next year, and hopefully by this time be a CPA this time next year, inshallah. I recommend picking a smart undergrad major. If you're going to pick something in a different field, make sure you have a contingency plan. I think it is important to take a few different classes and sort of feel out what you want to do, but try to establish an idea beforehand. You don't want to waste too much time in undergrad picking a bunch of different things. You kind of want to have a little bit of a focus. And alhamdulillah, we have so many people around us in so many different fields. Pick their brains, ask questions, ask so many questions, ask at orientation, at your school. See what's the best fit for you, or try a few things, but I truly recommend by your second year, try to establish a major. Try to pick something that you're like, okay, I kind of know I want to do this. The rest of it will fall into place, and pray. If you don't know what you want to do, ask Allah for help. That's the one thing I can say. He's definitely been my guiding force throughout every decision I've made, all through college. Alhamdulillah.
So I chose an art major because I've always loved painting, I've always loved art. I I first started out as just a biology major because I knew I wanted to go to a PA school, and that's my biggest thing. I wanted to be in medicine, not for the money, not for anything else, just because I wanted to help take care of people. I was always that one person in my family that I performed first aid on everyone that needed it, and whenever my dad hurt himself trying to fix something, I was always the first one to clean it up and take care of it. So I've always been really interested in the medical field, but I always had this really strong passion for art as well, that I knew I wanted to incorporate in my life in some way. And alhamdulillah, with a PA major, I didn't need a specific degree, so I was able to complete all my prerequisites with the bio minor and still able to choose a different major. And to balance both was so fun for me, just to have art classes with my biology classes. And it was really fun, and I feel like it helped make me showcase that I'm a well-rounded person. I could fit in both places. And my biggest dream would to be working at a hospital and have my artwork shown in the hospital. Because when you go to the hospital, there's different art pieces and stuff. Alhamdulillah, that'd be my biggest dream, if I could have my own art pieces shown in the hospital I work at. And just to always continue that as something in my life, because I really feel like it is a really big part of me, sharing my passion, sharing what I want to do is through art and through my paintings. So alhamdulillah, it's something I always wanted to keep in my life, so I made sure that I always could. And I feel like I was able to balance both pretty well, and it was really important to me to choose something that I would be happy with the rest of my life.
I'll try to make this quick. Looks like pizza's here, so. Thank you. So there's a couple things I want to say to this effect. Number one, some people may differ with me, but I don't think that there's such a thing as the perfect job where it's awesome from the day you walk in till the day, or to the hour that you walk in till the hour that you walk out. Every day you go in. Somebody can disagree with me, but I don't think there's. You have to love what you do. That way, it's not a job. Because a job you can become very bored with or become tired of. If you love what you do and it's a job at the same time, that makes it a lot easier to wake up early in the morning, a lot easier to answer pages in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So if you don't love what you do, then that's not a career that you want to go into. And believe me, some people have changed careers in the middle of one pathway and gone to another pathway. As far as preparation into what you want to do, there are a couple of schools of thought with that. Some schools want to see a well-rounded person. They want a person who is an art major going into medicine, a history major going into medicine. Some people would say, well, if you want to be more prepared to go into medicine, you want to do stuff that's in the biology and chemistry kind of field. I don't know if there's a right answer to that question. I think you do what you enjoy. My suggestion would be, and I'm definitely not an expert, but if you love science, go with something into the science field. If you love math, do something that's engineering. If you love history and such, go into law. If you love numbers, also go into an accounting. So I think it's really important to like the subject that you're doing. There is definitely the parents aspect that gets involved in there, and you definitely want to do. You definitely want to make your parents happy. So striking that balance again is something that you want to try to accomplish. It may not be easy, but it's definitely something that you want to keep in the back of your mind.
So that wraps up the flashcard questions. Anybody else have any questions? Want to raise their hand or something? I'm coming to you, okay?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Wow.
That's such a cute question. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'd be so old and you're 28. Okay. So inshallah by that time, I'd be working at a hospital as a PA, hopefully in surgery by then. That's my end goal. I really want to be able to help in surgery. Inshallah by then I'd start thinking about kids, but it's only when I'm happy with my career that I would start doing that. But yeah, inshallah just being a PA and working in a hospital, doing what I can to help others, hopefully helping a lot of different organizations too, like Doctors Without Borders.
I feel like I'm in one of my interviews, can I get that question? You receive yourself in 5 or 10 years. For me, as of right now, the company I'm interning with, alhamdulillah, I've been with for a while, so I'm hoping I'll be getting a full-time offer with them. So my plan is to be sitting for my CPA exam next year and to be certified. And then I will continue on working for the company for, I think, around 5 years was what I wanted to do. So inshallah, by my 5th year, I see myself as a manager or a senior associate, inshallah.
I just asked that question. So, now that I'm thinking about it, in 5 years I'd like to see myself in an upper management position in the emergency department or the hospital that I work at, so that I can work less shifts, so that I can be more involved with my community. And I would also like to be able to help and volunteer at the hospital that's being built in Karbala right now, and volunteer sometime there for seeing patients, people who need help, and free clinics and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I'd love to do.
Inshallah, you guys all achieve your goals. Any other questions? Come on, you can wait until Salah.
We don't bite, guys.
Yeah. Any questions? There's at least 40 people here. I'm pretty sure you guys can come up with a couple more questions.
Well, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to approach any of us. We're all here for you for whatever you need. Private questions about how to pursue things, how to get to know other people in your field. Well, this is what NYC is here for. We're here to help you become the best you possible. So reach out to us and take advantage of that, because we're here to help you guys.
Alright, so I guess we're gonna wrap up. Thank you all for coming. Inshallah, you guys all benefited, and inshallah, you guys will go to school and get a degree or focus on what you love doing and what you enjoy doing. But most importantly, just remember Allah and everything. Thank you to our amazing panelists for sharing their wisdom tonight. Inshallah, you guys achieve all your goals as well. And see you all next week at 8 p.m. for Ramadan lecture on how to enhance our spirituality throughout the month of Ramadan. Thank you. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.